Hi, I'm Liz from Caravan Insurance. The weather has always been changeable here in the UK, but sadly climate change does seem to be making it even more unpredictable. Long periods of rain, high and low temperatures, wind, fog and even snow are now common extremes in our weather. Not only providing us Brits with something more to talk about, but also providing those of us who tow a caravan an added headache. In this video we're joined by Fliss, the trailer lady. She's an independent driver trainer who provides valuable information, simple advice and hints and tips for those who are new to towing or who might need a bit more confidence with a caravan in tow. We'll be discussing the extra checks, equipment and considerations to make if you're towing in weather that suddenly takes a turn for the worse. Each year we get many caravan insurance claims for storm damage, road accidents due to bad weather and even written off caravans from flooding and driving through floodwater. Before we discuss the various weather types, the key thing is to be prepared, whatever the weather, as stormy, windy or even hot weather can strike at any time. Let's go through some basic vehicle checks to perform before setting off, no matter what the weather.
So the basic checks to carry out on your car and your caravan, whatever the weather, is the flour checks. So we need to make sure we've got adequate fuel for the journey. We need to check the lights to make sure that they're all clean as well, and this is on the car and the caravan, and that they're all working. We then want to check our oil and our water, and water will include all fluids and screen wash. That's a key one. We then want to check the electrics, so making sure that everything's working within the car and the plug and the socket, car and caravan, are working well. And we want to check rubber, so that's our tyres. We want to check the inflation, we want to check the torque settings on the wheel nuts and the general condition and tread depth on those tyres. We then also want to just do a walk around check of the caravan, making sure all our lockers are locked, doors are secure, roof vents etc. are all down, and we want to make sure we're loaded correctly. So with all the weight, it's down low and over the axle and secure, and the all important nose weight. Having a suitable nose weight will really improve the tow, especially in poor weather conditions. So when it comes to towing mirrors, make sure they are securely attached. It can be very easy if it's raining that the surface is wet and it may not grip very well. Also, you want to make sure you've tightened them as much as you can without cracking that side mirror casing, because in windy conditions they could easily come off. If you're using a towing cover, which is absolutely brilliant for keeping the front of the caravan nice and clean, protecting it from any stone chips and tarmac from the road, but if you're using one, make sure that all the zips are closed and that all the clips are securely attached underneath the caravan and the A-frame. As a driver, it's really important that you are well rested before you start any journey. I wouldn't drink any alcohol the night before you're going to do that long drive. You're going to be concentrating a lot more than normal, and you are going to fatigue quicker. So any alcohol the night before is not going to be a good combination. Also think about any medication that you might be on. Either a regular medication or a temporary one. Could that affect your driving as well, especially long distances? Make sure you've got plenty of water in the vehicle and those all important snacks. It's not just a treat, actually it helps keep your energy levels up as well. So when you're driving, you need to try and limit the distractions in the vehicle. And I mean children and I mean pets. So make sure the pets are secured and they are travelling, be it in the boot or the back seat, but they are restrained and cannot cause you any problems. With regards to children, it goes without saying that they should be in a suitable safety harness for their age and size, but consider games and toys and snacks and things to keep them occupied whilst on your journey. But remember, the smoother you keep the tow, the calmer you keep the passengers. So whatever the weather, some really important kit to have with you is a first aid kit, some high-vis vests for the driver and the passengers, suitable clothing for the time of year that you're travelling, a torch, blankets, Know where your towing eye is, just in case you have to be recovered, and also that your spare wheel is in good condition, car and caravan, for use. Unfortunately, our extreme weather conditions can have an impact on our road network. That then, for you as a driver, can impact on the route that you are going to take to your campsite. So making sure your sat-nav is up to date and that it is a vehicle-specific sat-nav will help guide you the safest way to that campsite. But I always have maps with me as well, just as a backup, just in case that sat-nav hasn't quite picked up on a road closure or a bridge height or something. If you're towing in poor weather, you are going to be concentrating a lot. So you are going to tire and fatigue. So it's really important to make sure that you've taken regular breaks. So as part of your route planning, also plan in your stops. Making sure the service station that you're planning on stopping at can actually accommodate a car and a caravan is really important. If those weather reports are advising you to only travel if your journey is essential, then you do need to adhere to them. I'm sorry to be a party pooper, but if it's unsafe to tow a caravan in wind or rain, then consider delaying the departure from home or from the campsite. If we know there is a storm coming in, cut the holiday short and leave a day earlier. It's better to be safe than sorry. And finally, make sure you have suitable breakdown cover for your outfit. I often get asked, what wind speed is considered too windy for towing? It's very difficult to put a specific number on that answer. But what I would say is by monitoring those weather reports, you're keeping an eye on the gusts. When they say wind speeds up to and gusting up to, it's the gusts that can cause you problems. They're the things that can catch you out. So when you are towing, if it is windy, stay off those exposed routes. Some of the motorways now are so open that they can knock you about with car and your caravan. So consider getting off the motorways, taking the A roads, going through towns, through villages. That wind will get broken up. You've got trees, you've got hedge lines, all those kinds of things will break the wind up and hopefully not cause you to sway too much. Towing in windy weather can be dangerous, and with gusting wind speeds, it could be unpredictable. So I recommend that the first thing you do is just reduce your speed, slow down. Keep a firm grip on the steering wheel and two hands as well. It shouldn't be a white knuckle ride, but you do need to make sure that you're keeping the car and caravan pointing in the same direction. Try not to let it wobble about too much. Make sure you're always pulling. It's very easy when a vehicle passes you to suddenly ease off the gas in the hope that vehicle gets past you quicker. But actually, if you keep pulling, you are reducing the chances of that caravan starting to wobble behind you. When it comes to lorries, personally in bad weather, I wouldn't bother overtaking. I like to find two lorries a reasonable distance apart, pop myself between them and travel in convoy. But again, if you have to overtake, just give yourself a bit more room as you're passing that slower vehicle. As I mentioned before, in windy weather, get off those exposed routes and take smaller roads. But be aware there may be more fallen debris on those kinds of roads. If you've made the decision to stay on site because you've deemed the weather to be too dangerous to tow, then make sure you take the awning down, close all the roof vents, and even consider using the car as a windbreak for the caravan. But I would strongly recommend go and have a chat with the wardens. They may have a more sheltered pitch for you to use. They may even suggest changing the orientation of the caravan, but they're the people to go and ask. So on the other hand, if you're not away and your caravan is either on the driveway or in storage and you know there's a storm coming, there's a few things you can do to make sure it stays safe in bad weather. Make sure you wind the hitch down low enough that the jockey wheel goes into the little cutout that's at the bottom of the jockey wheel. That'll stop the caravan moving. Make sure all the steadies are down, all the wheel locks are on, and any hitch locks are obviously for security. And if you are using a caravan cover, double check that all of those clips are closed and you've pulled those straps as tight as possible to reduce that cover from blowing, causing damage to not only your van but possibly a van parked next to you. When towing in wet weather, the biggest consideration you need to give is your stopping distances. If we've had a period of very hot weather and then it starts to rain, it's going to make those road surfaces very slippery. Now there's a saying I used to use, only a fool breaks the 2-second rule, but if you're carrying more, give it 4. So when you are towing, you're carrying that extra load, so you need to increase those stopping distances, and when it's wet, that is crucial. The other consideration to think about is your speed. Bringing that speed down is just going to give you more time to plan and anticipate what is going on ahead of you. Your visibility will be reduced in heavy rain, so by slowing down, you're just increasing those distances between you and the vehicles in front. So when you are towing in heavy rain, make sure you've got your lights on. It's not just about illuminating the vehicle, it's about illuminating that caravan as well so that other people can see it. Don't rely on those daytime running lights because they won't operate rear lights. Should you encounter an aquaplaning situation, just ease off the gas. Whenever anything doesn't feel right with a caravan, the first port of call is to ease off the gas and just keep a firm grip on the steering wheel. So if you come face to face with a flooded road, personally, I wouldn't go through it. I would turn around and change my route because you don't know how deep that water is. And just because the car might get through without conking out, doesn't mean your caravan's going to get through without taking on board any water. If you're on site and there's heavy rain forecast, like I've mentioned before, take those awnings down. Speak to the wardens. Some campsites are on flood watch, so you may have to move at short notice. So if that heavy rainfall is incoming, you know about it, consider packing up a few bits so that you can go quickly if needed. Another severe weather condition that you may encounter is fog. So with fog, your visibility is going to be seriously reduced. So we want to make sure that we have our lights on. Now, if you've got auto headlights, never assume that they're going to come on for you. So manually put your headlights on. Your fog light is there for when visibility is reduced to less than 100 meters. And remember that when that fog starts to clear, that you turn that light back off. Keep a safe distance from vehicles in front so that you can anticipate any sudden braking or anything that's going on up ahead. Driving in foggy conditions it can be quite stressful and it takes a lot of concentration. Towing in foggy weather is going to require even more concentration. So be aware that you're going to get fatigued, you're going to get tired. So factor in a few more breaks if you are doing a long journey in foggy weather. For those of you that like to caravan all year round, at some point I'm sure you're going to encounter some snowy, icy, cold conditions. So the first thing to remember is that in those conditions your stopping distances are going to increase, and it can be by as much as up to 10 times. Make sure you use your headlights. Don't rely on the auto lights like I said before, and make sure you keep a really good distance between you and the vehicles in front of you. It's worth packing extra screen wash because you're going to need to keep that windscreen clear, and make sure you've got plenty of warm clothing, and as we mentioned at the start of the video, a shovel's really helpful too. I also recommend, if you haven't already, this is where a caravan cover on the front can be really useful, because the gritter lorries will have been out on the roads and the roads can get slushy and quite mucky, and that caravan cover on the front is going to just help keep your pride and joy nice and clean. And lastly, and I know I've said this before, but in snowy, cold, icy conditions, only travel if your journey is essential. When towing in a heat wave, and we do occasionally get them in the UK, but quite frequently if you're travelling into Europe, there are a few things you can think about to make your journey more pleasant for you and your passengers, and to help keep you safer on the road. My top tip is to actually consider travelling after sunset, before dawn, or even overnight, especially if you've got children, because they'll sleep in the car. First things first, make sure there's plenty of water for you and your passengers. Make sure you're wearing light clothing and also have appropriate footwear. And by this I mean for the driver, not wearing flip-flops or Crocs. It will help keep better control of the vehicle. Make sure you've packed your sunglasses, especially if they're prescription ones. And make sure you use that air conditioning to keep that cabin cool and comfortable for everybody. Now this has actually happened to us as well. Our sat-nav actually overheated in the windscreen. So referring back to what I said right at the start of the video, make sure you have got the route planned out on a map. You've got that plan B should that sat-nav decide it doesn't want to work anymore. In extreme heat, roads can change. If you've got a poorly maintained road, in extreme heat, it can actually get worse. You may also encounter a newly resurfaced road. If it's tarmac, it can become soft, which could affect your handling of your outfit. But if it's been laid with road chippings, they can suddenly become quite sticky, and they will stick to all your tyres and the tyres of your caravan. So when you come to a stop, and you want to then engage your motor mover, make sure you've cleared all the chippings off the tyres before you engage the rollers against your wheels. So they're my top tips for when you're towing in extreme or poor weather. I'm sure you've worked out that there's a common message from me, and it is that in any situation, make sure that you are prepared. Slow everything down and never be afraid to change those plans if you need to.
So there you go, a huge thank you to Fliss for joining us today and for her top tips on towing in bad weather. Don't forget, our specialist caravan insurance provides cover for your caravan and your awning if damaged in stormy weather or flooding. To find out more about our caravan insurance, visit the Caravan Guard website. We hope you found this video useful, and for more hints and tips, why not head on over to our blog. Thanks for watching and take care.